Hello and welcome to another episode from HenRefurb. This episode I'm going to start doing a CAD model of the body. I'm going to fire the engine up for one last time before we remove it from the chassis. I'm going to power wash both the engine and the chassis, and then I'm going to start dismantling the chassis. So stay tuned. This is where I'm up to on the CAD model. It's just the base frame so far, but I'm going to get further with that on another episode. Now that we've got the body in this position, I'm going to have another go at removing this piece of wood here now that I can get at the screws. Okay, well the camera just died then, but I've drilled out the two screws at the bottom and now I'm just going to pull this off. Well, that's off now finally, and now I can see what's going on with this. Before I start stripping anything down on this chassis, I'm a little bit concerned about the engine at the moment. It's currently full of water, and I'm worried that that's going to start corroding from the inside out, so I don't want to leave it much longer in this state. I'm going to try and fire the engine up one last time before we take it out of the chassis and strip it apart. Then I want to completely degrease it and power wash it so that it's completely clean, ready to repaint it and whatnot in the workshop. I have no plans to strip the engine right down because before we bought the vehicle, the previous owner also had the engine reconditioned to an extent. So he's had new big end bearings and whatnot done, and the engine runs really, really well, so I have no reason to want to rebuild it yet. We may do one day in the future, but not just yet, because there's no point. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm just going to push the thing outside so we can do it in the daylight and fresh air, and so I don't get smoked out in the barn. And then I've just got to find a battery and hook up a few of the electrical connectors, and we should be able to fire it up. Forgot about the oil pressure feed line. Now it's covered in oil. I now have the oil pressure gauge from the van, so that should stop it leaking. Right, now we're going to head over to the cleaning bay. That is one heavy chassis. Now I'm going to degrease the engine, and this works much better when the engine's hot, that's why we ran the engine. I appear to have power washed a hole in one of the core plugs. Oops. Oh well, saves me finding it later on when I'm on the road. I'm now going to blast everything with air to get it dry quick so that we don't have any rust problems. It's a really hot day today, which is why I decided to do the jet washing, because that's going to dry in no time, which will be good, because then we won't have any rust problems. So now it's time for the strip down. I'm going to start by removing the wiring loom, and this is the most ridiculously simple wiring loom I've ever seen. There are quite literally only 2 wires that run from the front to the back of the van. They are the rear lights and the brake lights. There's no fuel gauge wire, the van doesn't have indicators, so there's no indicator wires. It's really simple. Okay, that's everything off apart from the front lights wiring. And that's the entire wiring loom, apart from the front lights, just there. Now I'm going to see if I can get the rear lights and fixtures off. There's one, that wasn't too hard. And there's the rear body mount. Look how good that thread is. 90 years old. And there's the other side, all in one piece. Might as well leave it that way until I need to dismantle it to clean it up. Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up for this episode. Next episode, I'm going to be taking the wings and radiator off the chassis. If you've got any questions or suggestions, pop them in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Otherwise, see you next time, and thanks for watching.